Virtual summits are the most powerful online marketing tool available to grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and create an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. If you are ready to take your summit to the next level, then tune into the Virtual Summit Podcast with Dr. Mark T. Wade.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, founder of Virtual Summit Software and creator of the One Day Summit Formula. And I'm on a mission to help you, the summit host, get your summit out to the world in a powerful and impactful way. So let's get started. Hey, Summit host, Dr. Mark T. Wade here, founder of Virtual Summit Software and your host on the Virtual Summit Podcast. And are we in for a treat today? Get ready. You're going to feel some energy coming through here. So if you haven't had coffee yet, don't worry because we're going to spice it up with you. We've got legendary August Crenshaw with us. How you doing today, August?
I'm fabulous.
Fabuloso over there. We were just chatting before we hit go about both learning Spanish. So we might throw in a little bit of Spanish words in there for you. Now, audience, summit hosts, stay tuned because this is going to be a phenomenal episode. We're going to be we're actually talking to a living summit champ right now. She's running quite a few summits, and we're going to get into some of those specific details and some of the ways she really makes her summit stand out above all other summits. So you're going to want to hear this. Before we jump into that, August, I would love for you to tell our summit hosts just a little bit more about yourself.
Oh, no, absolutely. I am a business and sales success coach, and I love people. I love empowering women. I love authenticity. And I got into coaching on accident. I was a hairstylist for 20 years, left my native city of St. Louis on some spiritual journey and was like, what in the world am I supposed to do with my life? And I ran into coaching and found that I wasn't living in my fullest potential. And so now helping other women know how to show up authentically online and build profitable, sustainable businesses. It's what I do. I am a wife. I'm a mom of 4. Only 2 are still with me. I'm a beautiful 44-year-old who's proud. And I have 2 little bitty youngins with me. So I'm also a mompreneur. And so I just love life. I love living. And I actually like running my mouth. So I'm excited to be on the podcast with you. And I love giving value. So let's see how we can shake some stuff up for your audience.
Oh, we're going to shake it up. And just for everybody that's listening to the audio version of this podcast right now, I just got to say, August, the hair's looking phenomenal. So I can vouch for that. And I'm a former St. Louis resident myself.
What?
I still got family there. Talk about small world, right? Like coming to you from Puerto Rico here, but born and raised south of St. Louis. I got my first doctorate in Kansas City, Missouri. And then I was off to the races from there. So we've got that connected as well. So August, you've had your fair share of experience with summits. What I'd like now is to just kind of give us a very brief overview. You've run a couple summits. What were they? Like what kind of niches? And you just give us the overview of the summits you've run currently.
Right. So there's always 2 summits that I do every year. I originally started out with the Business Mastery Summit. That was the first one that I did. And to kind of really speed up the story, like you said, when I launched that summit, I had some pretty good success, but I noticed that just from observing the women that were in my community, they were not implementing the tools that they got from the summit. And so because I am highly interactive and I connect with people, they were like, oh my God, this was a great summit, but I'm just wrestling with all these thoughts and this has come up in my relationship. And I realized that they had some trauma. So I immediately in 60 days came right back and launched the second summit with the theme of dealing with trauma, whether that was financial trauma, abuse, molestation, what kind of mental things would stop a woman from being able to show up in business. And so those are the 2 that I piggyback off of. So I do Business Mastery specifically for tools. And then I do the Authentic Collective Summit, which the names have kind of been revised over time to help women with personal issues. And those are the 2 that I do all the time. I specifically serve women, but I can honestly say when I first started out, I was like, I kind of had that I want to serve everybody. That we're all guilty when we first start our business. I want my summit to be for everybody. And I niche down hard over time.
Virtual Summit's software makes hosting a summit easier than ever. The only software in the world designed specifically for hosting a summit lets you set up a summit in a matter of hours with no tech skill or team needed. You can try out the Virtual Summit's software free at virtualsummits.com. But hurry, this is a limited offer.
Let's dig into that, because I think that is such an important point right there. What did you notice? Like, what was, take us through that process of when you decided, you know what, I need to make this more focused, and what is something that you noticed that came out of that?
The bare bones of it is I love to look at all the analytics. I look at whatever I get. And so I was like, yes, look at all of this. My coach is right. If I do a summit, I'm going to get a whole bunch of people to subscribe. And I got a bunch of dead subscribers. I'm like, ain't nobody clicking the link. And so it's just like that initial curiosity. And so people were signing up. It was kind of hard to really move the all access pass sales. You know, I did still make some money and I got some sales, but it was the statistics. It wasn't matching. And I'm one of those people, I'm looking to, you know, surpass whatever the standard quota is. So when I realized that just saying I was there for men and women entrepreneurs, I really wasn't taking responsibility for clarifying my niche. Something as simple as really clarifying that niche is saying that I'm looking for women that are dealing with past traumas that haunt them with showing up in business and really speaking that language to them. I actually came back with my second summit and I charged on the front end because my thing was these women were going to be sharing testimonials about past records, about being molested, having abusive parents. And so I wanted the people that came to the summit to be vested financially so that I didn't have a bunch of looky-loos. And I was able to surpass my income with the second summit prior to the summit even starting. And then I still upgraded for them to be able to have an all access pass. But that was because the messaging was so freaking clear. The ladies were like, I know that this is for me. And so they were thirsty to get as much of whatever else I had to offer to give to them. The first one was kind of like, oh yeah, you know, you can do this. Oh, this is for business owners. When things are not vague, people's heart are not attached. And if their heart is not attached, you're not at the top of mind and they don't readily spend money with you. So building summits is great, but you got to realize you're not just entertaining and performing. You're being a business owner. And you've got to connect with your audience hardcore if you want to bring in the cash.
Oh, I love that. And when you changed it, when you got more specific, more clear there, was it easier? Was it more fun when you were writing, for example, copy and things like that? Kind of tell us how did that change for you as well?
Oh yeah, it was a whole heck of a lot easier when you know that, like, so if I just say I'm doing a summit for all women. Okay, hey, ladies in business, if you are a mompreneur or, you know, you're having troubles with hubbies, or even if you don't have any kids at home, come here. You know, it starts getting really diluted and is watered down. But if I know that I'm specifically the thing that we don't want to do, if I know that I'm specifically speaking to a married mom, then when I'm writing my copy, I can be like, listen, it's already going to be hard enough for you to get here because you're trying to focus and run your business and the kids are in the back room. Mommy, he hit me, she hit me. You know, I can paint a picture and the woman could be sitting there reading like, I just went through that this morning. And so I'm able to visualize. I know whether or not she woke up and drank 3 cups of coffee this morning. She got one to get her started, one at Starbucks to treat herself, and another one by the time she got to her desk, all to get through her day to come home and then go work on building her business at night. So that's another thing. If I know that she's working and building her business, it's imagery. People tell you that the best business owners are great storytellers, but you got to tell your story, but you also got to tell their story. And so knowing her down to a science allowed my copy to just erupt. And women were like, oh my God, they were crying and in tears and in high anticipation for that second summit. I got something totally different, but that's because my copy game was so strong.
Oh my goodness. I am absolutely loving this. I'm laughing over here. I'm following you. I'm visualizing the person you're talking about. And this is so important. And I'm going to keep diving into this because one, you're crushing it in this area. And it's something that I think a lot of summit hosts struggle with. And that is one, the messaging. So we kind of briefly talked on that, but it's the copywriting. So I'd love to kind of hear your process and let me paint the picture here for a second. A lot of the summits I see right now, the copy is very transactional. It's very much like, hey, summit starts at this time. Here's the 12 speakers. You're going to get this. Don't forget to buy the all access pass. Here's the facts, and questions.
Yeah.
And hand raised, those are a lot of my early summits had all of that in it as well. I can tell yours copy is not written like that. So kind of
No.
take us through the process of what you think of when you're writing. Maybe even you got a summit coming up, like talk us
Yes.
through the process of what you're going to do as writing that copy.
Absolutely. So the Business Mastery Summit is coming up. And even though I've done this multiple times, I go back every single time and say, but what makes it different? What makes it distinctive this year? So the theme for it is make them see you in 2020. Everybody's talking about 2020 vision, right? So then I say to myself, okay, so a woman that wants to be seen, why does she want to be seen? I start dissecting and asking all of those who, what, when, why, where questions and stuff like, okay, so she wants to be seen, but where does she want to be seen? Well, she's probably confused. She doesn't know if she should be seen on stage or if she should be seen on doing live video, if she should be on podcast or should she host a live event. So then I'm processing. Well, even if she knows where she should be seen, what would she be struggling with? What kind of confidence issues would she be having? Is it an issue with a financial investment? So I'm thinking about her. It is not about me. I think the reason why most people make very transactional copy is because they're trying to make sure that they're buying into this illusion of marketing and really appealing to the impulse in somebody as opposed to me, I'm into appealing to the heart and the mind of the person. And so when I think like that, then that means that I'm very strategic. So I don't want any and everybody in my summit either. I want someone who specializes in speaking. I want someone who specializes in podcasting. I've identified money issues, find confidence issues. I want the best confidence coach. I want someone that does financial literacy, because then I'm thinking about drawing this whole experience where I'm taking this woman through this journey of what she wants, why she can't get it, where she should go to get it. And so I'm looking at it as a solution-oriented process. And that changes the dynamic of who I speak to and how I speak to them. So then when I write my copy, as soon as you come, it's like, yeah, if you're not seen, you can't get paid, but you're confused because you don't know if you should do this or you should do that. And you could do this or you could do that. And then the copy on it eventually says, what if I told you all of these answers are right, but all of them may not be right for you? So get your ticket, get your pass, come to the summit to learn your next best move. Completely different feeling. People tell me all the time, they read my whole page. People say, I don't want to do that long copy. It's a waste of time. Nobody reads it. Oh, your ideal client does. Your ideal client reads it all. And so I start at the end. I start with the end in mind. What do I want this woman to walk away with? And I just start dissecting everything about her and walking backwards. And that dictates everything that I do moving forward.
Man, I love that. And I love how specific you are around what is that person going through? What are they thinking? You're like, you've put yourself into the mind of that person. So when you're writing this, your copy for your summit, it sounds like this first one is more getting them onto the summit. Once they're on the summit, let's say they've got that, the free ticket to attend the summit. What's your copy kind of directed towards there? Is it storytelling? Is it like, take us through that process.
So after that, engaging your audience, they're on the list and they whether it's free or fee, they've gotten their pass. From there, I do begin to communicate with them about themselves. So this is the beauty. I'm not going to jump ahead of you, but I have very active participation from my speakers. And so instead of just telling the story of the speaker, I tell the stories of the speakers as if it's them. Like this is this dilemma that they dealt with. This is why they're doing these things. Have you found yourself feeling this way? Are you looking for that? So I begin to express things to them so that they can see and feel the impact of what they're eventually going to experience once they come to the summit. Because my audience is usually purpose-driven and very philanthropic, I maybe share some things about how being a participant in the summit and buying an all-access pass will benefit the organization. I've always had an organization that I've sponsored since I first started my summit because I'm really big on giving back. And so I do a little bit of a mix of that. And then I do get into the trends. There's always a blurb though. So I'm a business owner that somewhere at the end of that, if this summit that's coming up is fee-based up front, but if it was not fee-based up front, then I would say something like, hey, don't forget to maximize the opportunities and get into my sales pitch. But there's always something that's woven in there that lets them know that they're at the top of my mind. My copy basically just lets them know that I'm at the top of their mind. And somewhere infused in there may also be something to address what could distract them. Because a lot of times I think that when we think we get people in our funnel, they're just going to be good to go. But there's always going to be something. There's going to be a financial issue. People will spend money and be like, oh my God, I can't show up because this happened. I'm going to have an email in there like that because I'm familiar with the journey. Hey, no matter what, you make sure you still crush it. You make sure you still beast through. You make sure you show up. Make sure you still show up because this is going to change your life. Don't forget to keep the main thing the main thing. So I'm encouraging, I'm doing all of those things and I'm tapping into all of those emotions and thinking about the ebb and flow of how they're feeling between them actually signing up for that summit and actually attending it. Because I don't want those inactive subscribers.
That is so good. And I love that you've talked about like write it from the perspective of the speaker too. You're telling the story, putting it in there, making it more, I mean, when you have entertaining copy like that, and it sounds like you write in your voice, you write in your voice. And I think that is such a powerful thing. I know a lot of summit hosts, they try and write how they think they should write versus like, if you read my email copy, it's me talking because I'm talking this, that, and the other. And it's comical. Sometimes it's, not everybody's going to love it. Right. Just like you were saying. So but the people who do read it, as you were just saying, they're going to read it. They're going to love it and they want more of it. They're waiting for the next email to come in order to open it. So I love that. That is such a powerful takeaway for everybody listening right here is write in your voice. Don't be transactional. Find out what your audience needs and wants, which obviously means you know who your audience is to begin with.
Yeah. Now, can I add?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Please. Can
I add something to that? So my entire brand goes through one word: authenticity. And I spell it AWE, meaning leave them in awe with who you are. And I deal with this with every single woman because most of the women that come to me that actually get coaching, they have their degrees, masters and PhDs. A few of them only have bachelors. And so when they start their business, here it is, they've gotten into the woo-woo world of spirituality. But then they get ready to, send an email and then they want to say, hello, this is August Crenshaw, and I'm writing you today to help you understand all of the dynamics and the options that you have in regards to healing your body. And it's like, that's not what you want to say. You want to say, hey, I'm coming at you, girl, because you already know Western medicine and got on your nerves. You want the swaying, you want the twang. And so a person, if they saw you at a live experience, if they heard you on a live video, it is a culture shock almost for them to hear one version of you in person and then to read your copy. And you already have the issue of a person having to process what you've written based on the biases of whatever is going on around them at that time. The least you can do is add the little hook, the quirk, the twang, the swang, so that they can begin to hear you. And it gets to a point, especially if you do things audibly like podcasting, live video, that when they read, when people see the deuces at the end of an email, they see this deuces, because I say that all the time. And I will see my tribe sometimes in videos that usually would say, all right, I'm out, say deuces. Or even if they say I'm still out, they chunk the deuce up. You begin to merge with them, your personality, your experience, and you miss that connection if you don't come in with authenticity. They're hearing your voice when they're reading. Don't take that from them.
It's so true. And it's so powerful. I love that. Thank you for adding that there. I want to circle back to something you had talked about. Well, actually, I want to go into one area of this first. You've mentioned that you run multiple annual summits. I see a lot of people running summits out there where they do more than one summit, but they change the theme every time. What's your thoughts on the difference between running the same branded summit year after year, the benefit of that versus if they changed it every year?
Brand recognition. I mean, that's a short way of saying it. But you have to, I can understand you doing that in the beginning because you like kind of, sort of, are trying to get your bearings. But once you found what you got the juice and you run with that. And what a lot of people, for me, honestly, what I realize is that they have scarcity mentality and they think they got to find the next big trick or the next big gimmick. But the people that are truly successful in business keep on saying the best part of waking up. They may change the fact that it's the college student coming home and mom and dad are like, what is that aroma in the kitchen? Or mommy's laying in bed, and dad brings a cup of coffee, or they're all just sitting around for breakfast. The commercial may change, but the theme is still the same. So what do you want to be known for? You want to be known as the rock star at whatever it is. And so you want to do it every single time. For me, I don't think people really understand the awe that they possess. So you don't believe that somebody's going to be sitting on the edge of their seat every freaking year waiting for the Business Mastery Summit, every freaking year for the Authentic Collective Summit, because you're thinking that you're a one-stop, one resolution stop, but people are habituated to making the same mistakes. They do the same things over and over again. Look at yourself. Who's your favorite person to listen to? How many times have you listened to the same Les Brown motivational talk that he recorded like 25 years ago? Why won't somebody auto repeat that on you? I'm really about people waking up to their genius and their awe factor. Keep doing the same thing so that people will know that that is what you do and you're the person that they come to for it. Period, point blank.
Be sure to check out the speaker management tool inside your virtual summit software, which lets you quickly and easily recruit and manage your speakers on your virtual summit, literally eliminating hundreds of hours of work. Get more information at virtualsummits.com.
That it's so good. So the annual summit, keeping it the same, obviously maybe changing some of the categories, the things inside of it, the topics, etc., but it builds year after year after year. I love that. Now to circle back to something you had said, you talked about fee versus free summits. What is the thought process you would go through when deciding whether to make this summit free or to charge a fee, and what's the benefits to each or the other?
I believe that sometimes you just need to know how to play the game. And when you don't have enough brand recognition, and if you're really starting this off because you heard it's a good way to build your list, it pretty much is a no-brainer. You should start off with free summits. You should just say, hey, free, and then do the all access pass. And then you can deal with the rest of that stuff of whether or not you do a set rate or every couple of days you do the scared, buy it now, type of tactic, which there's nothing wrong with that at all. But then it's also about the type of summit, the caliber of it. Like I told you, when I did that second summit, I had women saying, I'm going to open up for the first time about speaking about being raped, or speak about my financial trauma and how many times I filed bankruptcy. It was so personal. That is why I charged up front for that. Now, fast forwarding, going ahead, Business Mastery is coming back around again. It's a low end ticket investment, but I'm started off the rip saying you have to pay $27 to be here. But this is what I do know, that after doing 5 summits, people are already like, listen, when August says she's doing a summit, you attend, because you're going to get more value than you've gotten from everything that you invested in all year. Those are the kinds of things that people will say. The other thing is, it's all about some of it has to do with your persona. It has to do with your swag. It has to do with your self-worth, and it has to do with your value. I put too much into my summits to give it away for free at all. And I know that. And my reputation precedes me. So I charge on the front end, and whatever else I do on the back end with extra upgrades or no extra upgrades or whatever, that's what I do. But it's a personal preference after you've gotten the traction, which goes back to your previous question. If you're going to keep switching it up and changing it, you're not known for anything. It'll be very difficult for you to charge for something up front when so many people give that initial access for free.
That is an incredible point right there. And I also believe that charging on the summits, the fee-based summits, or we call premium summits, are valuable because you automatically have got a qualified and engaged audience, right? They've paid, so they're now paying attention. So I love that. And you mentioned there that you add value, like whatever value you add on the back end. Let's jump into that, because in our pre-interview chat, you were talking about one of the things that you really focus on and highlight in your summits is the value you add ongoing inside of it. So talk us through some of the concepts you do inside of your summits to add that extra value inside of it.
No, absolutely. And I want to preface it before I say what I'm about to say. I understand that this is not for everybody. But I got some strong opinions, if you can't tell. I'm a strongly, highly convicted woman, but I feel like we're in an era where it's so easy for anybody and everybody to become an entrepreneur and to learn marketing gimmicks. And I feel like the majority of the industry is trying to figure out, how can I get the most with giving the least? And I'm from the old school. I'm from where the customer's always right and, serve them well. So I'm always seeing, how can I give as much without overstretching myself to resentment and still get what it is that I know that the divine wants to bless me with. And so for me, when I started constructing my summits in my mind, I thought about experiences that I had. How did it feel? And once again, somebody that I'm connected to and I'm close to on social media, this is what they do. I'm not talking about them. Everybody can run their business the way they want to. I just have the right to feel different. And so if I sign up for your summit and you fill out, I got to fill out this long application, you want all this stuff from me, and then you send me an email that says you're selected. By the way, click the link, go into this group, go into this portal, load up your stuff, load up your bio, do all of this, and it's very disconnected. I want exposure. And as long as I align with your messaging and what you're putting out into the world, I'm still going to participate. But I do kind of feel like I slutted myself. I kind of feel like I just laid down and I went inside of somewhere, and I know that I spit value. Okay. That's another thing. I know that when you listen to me, I spit value with my energy and I spit value with my words. But nevertheless, it's the game I play. And I put it out there. Well, I didn't want that feeling for me and my speakers, but I also didn't want that feeling for my attendees, because like you said, always just seeing the transactional copy. So what I decided to do was to think about, like I said, what's the effect? What do I want to happen? And then how do I ensure that that happens? And what is the overall benefit of this summit? So I believe in being mutually beneficial. That's what we tell people when we get speakers to sign up for our summits. So you sign up for my summit, we're all sharing our audiences, everybody wins. Hey, I'm the summit host, so I'm winning off the rip because everything goes through me. It's a luck of the draw with everybody else. But I don't want my speakers to feel like that, and I don't want that to be their experience. So a good summit will cause transformation and conviction, but it will also raise questions. So I know I kind of took a long-winded way to get there, but I think that it's important for me to say all of this. One of the things that I do in my summits, and I've done it since day one, is I do a live panel discussion for the entire day on Saturday. So I usually have on average 20, no more than 30 speakers, which means that I have anywhere from 4 to 5 slots with about 5 speakers at one time. And every speaker gives up an hour of their day on that Saturday, just 1 hour to be available on a panel for the guests to come and ask them questions. Well, that increases know, like, and trust. When people can have immediate, contact with you, if they were kind of hesitating, they don't need those 7 touches. They might only need 2 or 3, you know what I'm saying, as far as the sales process is concerned. So just imagine somebody coming to the panel discussion, asking a question, you answer it on the spot, and they're like, oh my God. And then you said the thing they needed to hear. If they didn't already get your opt-in, or if they didn't apply for your service, they will. So the attendees feel good because they get more clarity. The speakers feel good because they get more connection. And so the probability is higher that they're going to reap a reward. You may not even get as many opt-ins as you wanted to from being a participant in my summit, but who do you want, the opt-in, or do you want the cold hard relationship that translates into a buying client who continues to buy, who also refers people, and it ends up being a more powerful machine? So I do. That's one of the things that I do. And I thought about it from the aspect of the attendee and the speakers that are part of the summit.
And I love that you're actually providing value to the speakers. And I love this live panel aspect. Help me understand that. So do you have multiple speakers on at the same time, and or is it about how long do you run it? And are you doing it live the whole time? You set any breaks for you? Like, walk us through that process.
Yeah, so it's always the same thing. Like I said, so like this summit that's coming up, there are 20 of us. So there'll be 4 people in addition. I'm always on each panel discussion, but 4 of the women will be on each panel. So there'll be 5 segments. And the way that I do it, that's my grind day. On Saturday, I literally set it up. First panel, 9 to 10, 30-minute break. Second panel, 10:30 to 11:30, 30-minute break. 12 to 1, 30-minute break. 1:30 to 2:30, 30-minute break. 3 to 4, bam, and then that's it. And so all of the speakers that are assigned for that time, they're here on a Zoom. Our videos are live, and then all of the attendees I'll either allow them to audibly speak or they type in their questions, and we just fire away. And let me just also add this. It's just added value. A lot of people, you're wondering how you're going to make money in your summits, and you're wondering where the transformation will come. I have gotten more ticket sales than I could ever have thought I would get just from my speakers alone. Most of my speakers, they come back anywhere from 2, 3, 4. Some of my speakers have been with me through every single summit that I've done since day one. As long as it aligns with their brand and their timing with what they have going on with their life, they buy the all access passes too, because they're getting immense value. And guess what? No matter how great they may be at what they do, they may also need my help. And so when they see how I perform as a summit host, several of my guests have also become my clients. So you got to think about it. It's not just the immediate revenue that you gain. It is the residual revenue that you gain from the relationships that you build by doing this. So, yeah.
I love that. And with the panels there, are you pitching at the end of the panel like the all access pass or summit offer, or are you just telling them we'll be on the next panel? Is there direction that you're giving them on those, and is that helping increase those sales?
Well, so it depends, right? Because if they've already paid to get access, at one point it was the driving force. You pay to get the all access pass so that you can get access to the panel discussion. With this summit that's coming up, you pay so that you automatically get the panel discussion. But at that point, for me, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the speakers. And it's like, so if somebody's asking Mark a question, I'm like, look, you keep on asking Mark these questions about doing summits. If you have not opted in, if you have not got this stuff yet, you need to make sure that you go and do that. Make sure you're following him on social media and connect. It is only about you. I spend a lot of time making sure that my speakers see that I value them, because I know that the event couldn't be what it is without them. And so I'm not pitching anything that I have to offer. I have a workbook that they get when they come to the summits. The speakers are promoted again at the end of there, and I've got my big offer at the end of the workbook. I'm going to get what I'm going to get regardless. I need to make sure that my speakers are taken care of.
And that's probably why they love you so much and keep coming back, and all of that. Do you direct when you decide the panels? Are you creating specific topics that you're going to discuss on that? How do you kind of walk through that, or is it just kind of open forum?
It is definitely open forum. That's where I let the divine do whatever it's going to do. There's a natural selection process. I ask the ladies what they're going to work with, what times work for them. And that's the magical part. I relinquish for control on that part. And if for some reason, every once in a while, I have a panel discussion where it's really quiet, but the speakers have been impacted by the speakers. So the speaker may initiate it. If I have to, I will open up the dialogue based on the people that are there and say, okay, so here's a question, because this is still recorded footage. I'm going to think about, okay, so, you were here and you're listening to this. You're probably wondering this. So Mark, somebody's probably dealing with this dilemma. Bam. And I start a question. And then from there, it starts a dialogue. And so if it has to be initiated by me, fine. But usually people come in and they have their own questions, and it sometimes it ends in tears.
So good. Oh, okay. So we're quickly running out of time here, but while I still have you, I kind of want to ask if you have strategies on getting that engagement, that participation throughout the summit. Is there anything that you're doing with the attendees outside of just the normal sessions that get them more engaged, get them more excited about the things that you're working on and talking about?
Absolutely. But I have to start from the speakers to get to the attendees. So one of the things that I do is I put all of my speakers in a private hub. When I select them, and I have them do just a few exercises in a Facebook group, just so they can get to know each other and so that they can see and celebrate one another's brilliance. So that's the short version of it. And while they're in there and they're realizing, I'm drilling in the vision. I believe in including people in the process. So I'm like, hey, you guys, look, the graphics for your, look at them. They're looking like this, or here's a video clip from one of the speakers and how their interview went. So they're hyped. Oh my God, she's brilliant. So they're hyped. and they have a certain level of happiness. And so when they go out there and they start promoting, they are more prone to type the names of their friends and their people in there, and they really do get the word out. But I also, even without the speaker's engagement, I do simple things like I put a random post up the other day. Oh my God, one of the videos are finished. I'm having a hard time not showing you a sneak peek. And people are like, just show a sneak peek for goodness sake. So then I go ahead and put the clip out there and I kind of disappear. So even before promotion comes, it's like, yeah, I know Business Mastery is coming back around again. And so I'm also doing my own organic effort to get people ready that it's coming. And then by the time we're all out there promoting and posting, now this is hardcore juice, y'all. Whether y'all believe it or not, we are in a world where organic engagement is starting to have the value re-added into it more than you know.
With the Ever Summit feature inside the Virtual Summit software, you can rerun your summit as if it were live, ongoing forever with one click of a button. This now lets you continue to use your summit forever, bringing in qualified and engaged leads every month into your business. Get more information at virtualsummit.com.
So something simple that my speakers do, we all tag each other. We understand this is not spam. We understand that for this moment, we're tagging each other. So me, Amani, Camille, if you were in their market, it would be you. It would be, LaWanda and Renette and all of these different people. Their names would be on one. When I post, I'm tagging them. And when they post, they're tagging us. And we know that if we don't do anything but put a heart or put a GIF or a GIF and say, I can't wait, that we're automatically touching it. And so there's an energy and a synergy like, oh my God, this summit is coming up, and they see the speakers engaged. I never see speakers engaging other speakers. Half the time you don't even know who those other people are that are actually even speaking. You don't even know that they exist, except for that you seeing them on the landing page. And so the people are like, what are you guys involved in? My speakers get messages. People say stuff. They put on the comment on the post, like, what do you guys have going on? And then my speakers also do live videos with me, and we'll go on their page. And we call them Summit Shenanigans. We just get up and we just randomly start talking about stuff. And so if I'm on their page, then it's live with their audience, and vice versa with them being on mine. And so all of that is just drumming up that excitement and drumming up that engagement. And then, the rest of it is just me doing whatever else it is that I do. But all of that is very intentional.
So powerful right there. That is such great information, August. This has been so valuable. I can't thank you enough for being here. But before we go, everybody's sitting here going, Mark, how can I get more of August? Where is she at? Where is she hanging out? How can I find out more about her summit? So let everybody know where you're hanging out at and best ways to get in touch with you.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for having me here. I've had an excellent time. It's been wonderful. But find me at augustcrenshaw.com. That's where you find me. But the social media place that I hang out in priority is Facebook. Then it's kind of a blend between LinkedIn and Instagram. But I'm highly approachable. Come check me out. I'm not sure when this is going to air. I probably, based on when we're recording, I still have about maybe 4 days before the landing page is actually up. I actually do my landing pages on my website. I send all traffic to my website, and it's always the same website. So once again, when I do a little targeted ad, it's always the people that have visited that webpage all the time. Hint, hint, you know what I'm saying? And so, but you'll be able to find out more about the summit there too, within a week from when we've actually recorded this.
Absolutely love that. Thank you so much for being here with us. I'm going to let you have one final parting piece of wisdom and advice from August here. So why don't you close us out with something you think summit hosts need to know before we go?
Okay. So my last piece of advice is this. In a world where anybody and everybody can label themselves as an entrepreneur, I always say one thing: you are the number one unique identifying factor. I need you to have value in who you are and what you bring to the table, because then that repositions how you engage your target audience, because you are having a conversation and a dialogue and presenting something to them based on your values, based on what you believe in. And so people need to hear it from you. So ideal client identification starts with you first. And then you can go back and do all of those other things that I said about how do you actually communicate with them. You niche that down, and then the rest of what you do with your summit, I believe that between your good brain, your knowledge, and as well as the divine downloading things to you, that you will put on one stellar event.
August, thank you so much for being here with us today. This has been absolutely phenomenal. And thank you, all you Summit hosts, for listening and tuning in to August and I. I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, your host here on the Virtual Summit podcast. And remember, your message matters. So go out there and make an impact. Don't forget to check out all of the amazing goodies that August just told us about over at the show notes at podcast.virtualsummits.com/130. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Now don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star review on the Virtual Summit podcast. Head over to the show notes to check out all the links and resources from this episode, and be sure to grab your free trial of the Virtual Summit software.
Now, I want to end this episode by saying to all the Summit hosts listening right now, I believe in you, and you can do this. Summits are by far one of the most powerful ways to quickly grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and most importantly, make an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. So don't get caught up in analysis paralysis, because the world needs to hear your message, and there are people who are waiting for you to help them. So just get started, because imperfect action is always better than no action. Thank you, and see you on the next episode.